Well, today marks 1 year since Israel declared war on Hamas, and a day-long event is happening at at Nathan Phillips Square to mark the occasion.
A coalition of neighborhood groups plan to come together for a 12-hour vigil. It's in protest of the ongoing Israeli campaign in Gaza. Health officials there say the Israeli operations have killed 42,000 people in the last year, destroyed large areas, and displaced around 90% of its population. Organizers say the event will feature speakers including Indigenous, Palestinian, Jewish, and Sudanese community members, healthcare workers, labor organizers, and more.
And Heather Wright, senior correspondent for CTV National News, is live in the Middle East in the West Bank this morning. Heather, good to speak to you. So yesterday was the attack anniversary. Today marks a year since Israel declared war on Hamas. How would you describe the mood where you are today in the West Bank?
I mean, we've been speaking with a lot of people here, Nick, asking them about what the last year has been like as they've watched this war, unfold and seen it also expand to other fronts, including, escalated raids and violence here in the occupied West Bank. And there is a great sense of uncertainty. A lot of people talk about the Palestinians in Gaza, worried, of course, for their safety. Many people know people who have been killed in the last year. But there's also just here in the occupied West Bank a great deal of anxiety and fear as well. It's really hard to travel around the occupied West Bank right now, even more than it was even just a year ago. There are more checkpoints that have come up recently. We're in Nablus right now, and trying to get here, we were turned away from multiple different checkpoints for sometimes legitimate reasons. Other times it didn't seem as though there was a legitimate reason. Sometimes they just closed checkpoints. And so people that we've spoken with here say they often just don't leave. They feel safer in the larger cities, and when they get outside of them, that's where they fear that they might run into more problems. And so there is that anxiety and fear amongst people here.
And Heather, I'm curious about the people you've spoken to, the Israelis, how they feel about Benjamin Netanyahu's government and what they do on a daily basis to kind of protest for action in terms of bringing those remaining hostages home.
Well, we spoke with a number of hostage families yesterday. There were a number of protests, as we know, one outside of the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem. And when you speak with the hostage families, that is the paramount concern, is bringing people home, and also the paramount concern of most Israelis. There is a deep concern for the people who have been there for over a year now. Roughly 101 Israelis still believed held inside Gaza. And depending on who you talk to, there are people who want this war to end now. They want Israel to make a deal, to reach a ceasefire, to withdraw its troops, to do whatever they need to do to get the hostages home. But then there are also people who are concerned about the hostages, but believe this is a time for Israel to defend itself against Hezbollah in the north, Hamas in the south, and of course Iran, as Israel weighs its options in terms of how it is going to respond to that missile barrage last week. And so while the country is united in certain ways, it is very much split in terms of how this war is being executed. Many are calling for an end to the violence as a way to bring the hostages home. But as we know, the Prime Minister of Israel has said that they are now fighting a conflict on 7 different fronts. And those actions, they continue, and there are fears that they are going to continue to escalate over the coming days, weeks, and months.
Okay, CTV's senior correspondent Heather Wright reporting live from the West Bank. Thank you.